Hi everybody, Paul here again. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace a water well pump pressure switch. This blue tank is the well pressure tank. This is where the water from the well pump is sent to and stored. In order for the well pump to properly fill the pressure tank with water, it relies on what's called a pressure switch, which will usually be located by the pressure tank. Here's the pressure tank, and here's the pressure switch. The pressure switch is what turns the well pump on and off. Just recently, I had my well pump replaced, which was 24 years old. This pressure switch is also 24 years old. It still works fine, but some of the electrical contacts are getting down to the end of their service life. Rather than waiting until the pressure switch fails and not having any water, I'm going to replace it as preventative maintenance. As a general rule, I would recommend replacing the pressure switch whenever the well pump is replaced. These pressure switches come in 3 different PSI pressure ranges: 20 to 40, 30 to 50, and 40 to 60. This is a 40 to 60. I purchased this on eBay. Be sure to replace the pressure switch with the same pressure rating, which will usually be shown on the inside of the pressure switch cover. Once the new pressure switch is installed, I'll show how to make any necessary adjustments so that the well pump turns on and off at the correct pressure. The most important thing to remember when replacing a pressure switch is to make absolutely certain that the electrical power going to the pressure switch is turned off. In order to do that, you need to be able to check the voltage at the pressure switch while it's still on. This way you'll know for sure that there's no voltage going to the pressure switch. In order to do that, you'll need to have a digital multimeter or something else to check the voltage directly at the pressure switch. A lot of these pressure switches, including this one, are wired with 220 volts, which is extremely dangerous. If you're electrocuted with 220 volts, you could die. So be sure to keep children and pets away from the work area as well. If you're not comfortable doing this job, then you'll need to hire someone. To check for voltage, first remove the cover on the pressure switch by loosening this nut counterclockwise and then lift the cover straight up. On the right side is my incoming power source. Yours may be on the left side. You'll have a black wire, a white wire, and a green wire. My black wire is carrying 110 volts. My white wire is also carrying 110 volts. The green wire is ground. As you can see, I have around 240 AC volts. Next, I turned off the breaker switch at the breaker panel for the well pump. I also put a piece of red electrical tape over the breaker switch marked stop so no one accidentally turns it on. I also have an electrical switch by the pressure switch, which I also turned off. I also put a piece of red electrical tape over the electrical switch marked stop so that nobody accidentally turns it on. Now I'll check again for voltage at the pressure switch. As you can see, there's no voltage. So now I know for sure that it's safe to replace the pressure switch. Before removing the electrical wires on the pressure switch, take a picture or write down on a piece of paper showing how all the wires are attached to the pressure switch. This way you'll be sure to reattach all the wires correctly to the new pressure switch. Next, disconnect all the wires attached to the pressure switch. To install the new pressure switch, first we need to empty as much water as possible out of the pressure tank. Next, turn some water faucets on. Once the water stops coming out of the faucets, you'll have drained most of the water out of the tank. Once the water stops coming out of the faucets, turn off the main water valve that supplies water to the house. This will allow you to remove any additional water from the tank and pipes without draining all of the pipes in the house. I'll use a bucket to collect any additional water that drains out. Next, disconnect the conduit on both sides of the pressure switch and slip the wires out. Next, I'm going to put a mark on the pipe with some white out. just to use as a reference point for how far down the pressure switch is fastened down. Next, remove the pressure switch from the water pipe by turning it counterclockwise with a wrench. Use a pipe wrench on the pipe to keep the pipe from turning while removing the pressure switch. Make sure the end of the pipe is clean and apply pipe joint compound to the end of the male thread. Do not apply pipe joint compound to the female end on the pressure switch. Be sure to remove any pipe joint compound that got down inside the pipe before installing the new pressure switch. Now gently thread the pressure switch back onto the pipe, being careful not to cross thread it. Next, tighten the pressure switch back onto the pipe using both wrenches again. Now reinstall the conduit. Now reinstall the wires. Next, turn the power back on and check for any leaks at the pressure switch once the pressure tank is full. If there are no leaks, then run the water to make sure the pressure switch is turning on and off at the correct pressure by watching the pressure gauge. If you need to make any adjustments to the pressure switch, here's what to do next. You'll notice that the pressure switch has two adjustment nuts. This is nut number 1 and this is nut number 2. Turning nut number 1 clockwise will raise the pressure of when the well pump turns on and starts filling the pressure tank. Turning nut number 2 clockwise will raise the pressure of when the well pump turns off and stops filling the pressure tank. When adjusting the pressure, first adjust nut number 1 and then adjust nut number 2. I found that turning either nut one complete turn clockwise or counterclockwise will change the pressure by approximately 1 pound. For safety reasons, so no one is accidentally electrocuted, turn the power off to the pressure switch before making any adjustments. After each adjustment, turn the power back on and run the water to check the system operation by watching the pressure gauge. After making some adjustments, my pressure switch is now set at 40 and 60 psi. Watch the pressure gauge as the well pump turns on and starts filling the pressure tank, and then as the well pump turns off and stops filling the pressure tank. You'll also hear an audible click both when the well pump turns on and when it turns off. I hope you found this helpful, and if you like this video, please hit the like button below, share it with your friends, and please be sure to subscribe. God bless you and have a great day. Bye for now. Okay, Sparky, wait.